MatchBingo introduces Live Football Bingo, where events in every English Premier League game can win you prizes for a £1 card. And the fastest full house of the season is worth £20,000. Head to matchbingo.co.uk for more information. Over 18s only. Be gamble aware. Get yourself over to matchbingo.co.uk for more information. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Talking Town. I'm your host, the Gov, the last Talking Town of the 22-23 season, and what a season it's been. It's a fabulous time, and the weather has come out to celebrate as well. Are we hot? Are we roasting? Because I'm just melting with front of this green screen in the middle of the winter when you're all freezing, your nether regions off, going here, there, and everywhere. It's great to be sat in the studio doing the away games until the summertime when it's 30 degrees out and the green screen lights are blaring and the computer is emitting its molten lava heat. We'll see how long I last tonight. But I'm welcome in. It's your Talking Town. Please hit the like button, subscribe. If you're brand new here, obviously subscribe. And it's a live format, so do get involved. Leave your comments in the live section, as many of you have already started to do. Aidy's in the room, Colin's here, Mike Baker is here. And Nick asks, is first game away been approved, or do we have to wait until release date? I believe it's been approved. Well, they certainly have asked for it. I can't imagine the Football League wanting to turn that down, particularly as it is a pitch issue and not anything else. Rob, evening, everyone. Hope you've all had a chance to enjoy the gorgeous weather today. It has been a scorcher. Supposed to be hot tomorrow, though, And Still's here. Welcome in. The Fisherman is here. Philip Blundell, bring on Wednesday. First signing, new announcement, ? Also, I think the window opens on Wednesdays, what Phil's alluding to there. Lots of comments piling in. James is here. Welcome in, James. Hope you're well. Ben, master of the beautiful video, is here. Welcome in, Ben and Anthony from sunny South Yorkshire. It's a heat wave, but even Yorkshire is sunny. Right. Tonight is part 2 of our 5 defining fixtures of the campaign. If you weren't here last week or missed last week's show, I'll forgive you, but you can jump back and catch that. Matt Phillips gave us his 5 defining fixtures of the season. They can be defining for whatever reasons you want them to be, personal, or if you just feel they were pivotal in the story of Ipswich Town's 2022-2023 season. I've got 2 because Matt stole 3 of mine, and my contributor has listed 5 this evening. But of course, as always, we welcome your input from the live chat. So get your 5 defining fixtures in. I'll try and mention as many of the less mentioned ones as we possibly can. So we've had Barnsley away. That was on my list. That was on Richard Moss's list. So you probably won't hear Barnsley away this evening. You've had Derby at home in the black strip in front of Sky. So you probably won't hear that this evening. You've had a number of fixtures, but we've come up with 7 different games. So do let us know what yours were. 5 defining fixtures. On Wednesday's show's just been, we had Richard Chandler sitting with me. We were discussing all manner of topics that were floating around the social media stratosphere in terms of McKenna going to Celtic or not going to Celtic, or will he leave, blah, blah, blah. Jump back and give that a watch if you want. And Richard Chandler had an event, which I hear went very well. And I'm so excited, Richard, that it went fantastically well. Tommy said, apparently, according to ITFC website a few weeks ago, the EFL stated you're not allowed to make such requests for the fixture list. I don't know. But wasn't that because they asked for 2 of the opening games to be away? I'm sure I read that it was because they asked for the first and second game to be away, but I might be wrong on that. I'll have to sort of dig that up. I have got a number of videos from our viewers, such as Josh here, who said he sent the video again. Appreciate that, Josh. And we'll release those through the social media in the coming weeks. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. And if you want to send us a video telling us what your defining fixture or fixtures were, the email is homedressingroom89@gmail.com. Pop it in an email, pop it in a text, in an email rather. Record it like that. Not like this. Many people record the video like this. I want it like this, and I'll pop it on the social media. I will vet it, of course, first of all, just to make sure I agree with it. Anyway, right, joining me tonight, because Matty Phillips, he's on the beach already, proverbial, because he's not really on the beach, but he's on holiday mode. His season is done and dusted. 453 appearances, 0 goals, 4 blubs. But joining me for the last time this year is the Cruncher, Richard Moss.
You're talking utter Kim.
Fresh from the beach.
Oh, good evening, everybody. How are we?
I'm very well. You should be in fine form because you have had 2 weeks recharging those
10 days.
batteries.
10 days. 10 days in Rhodes, and then we got to the airport at Rhodes last night, and oh my lord, it was an absolute.
It's only a little airport, isn't it?
Shambles. Well,
it's only a little airport.
When they've got one queue, Martin, for TUI, it's not just going to Stansted. It's going to Luton. It's going to Manchester. It's going to Glasgow. It's going to East Midlands. I mean, what a fucking shambles.
I remember it well.
Home at 3:10.
Give us the sights, the sounds, the smells of Rhodes. I've been, loved it, but how was your experience? Great little island. Did you drive around it?
We went on a boat trip. We went quad biking.
Ooh.
I was in charge. No crashes. Off road. Loving it. The missus, look, she only screamed once, go. Only once.
What about the quad biking?
Yeah, just a one. But yeah, look, it was lovely. We got there. There's a bit of rain on the first day, but by the end it was up to about 30. So yeah, lovely. Just down from where Lindos was. We went there a couple of times. Went in the evening. Lovely place, Rhodes. And yeah, you're off to Greece as well very soon, aren't we?
I am. Do a bit of Greece lightning myself. Cause this time next week, buzzing. Holiday reads. I've charged my Kindle up. All right, my Kindle is charged.
Well,
now this.
Funny you should say that. You should be getting these 2 books in your lives.
Wow.
Carl Fuller.
Are they Kindle applicable?
I don't know. You could always message
need
Carl, but
me,
Carl wrote.
paperback.
Carl wrote Town on the Telly, which I took on holiday. Great book, and he's bought out another one, The Game Changers, story of last season. And we've got Parrot. Look, the Parrot Designs. He does the artwork for the club programs. So look, we've got some beautiful stuff here. Story of the season.
That is nice.
But this book is no longer available because they've all gone. But Carl's book, you can get it on Amazon, and I think you can get it directly from him. But they're both. It's something that obviously the club have got the book out, I think, as well, Martin, that you can get at the town, like I think in pictures and whatever. It's just a memento of the season. You got to have something to remember it by. Or
you have. Look, I don't do paper books for the very reason. Yeah, well, I saw that. Yeah, and when McKenna was linked to Celtic, I did think of you. I don't do paper books for the very reason I've got Collins. I'm taking that. I've got Graham Brooks. Going to finish that off. I don't do.
Have
paper
you
books
got Jason's book, Burning Shield?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I got that when we first had Jason on the show. But it's because afterwards, once I've read them, I don't really ever want to read them again.
Oh, look.
So they just take up space.
Yeah, but look, town books.
Whereas
we have
on
no
the Kindle,
we have no town books for years because we don't do anything.
On the Kindle, they're all stored. So I'm downloading all the Mafia stuff, all the Michael Francis stuff, all that sort of stuff. Love that. But have you got any books you can recommend to me and the great people at home that have gone on holiday? Anyone's outside the ones you've mentioned? What did you read?
I took Carl's book. I took Colin's book. I took Jason's book. Other than that, I listened to a few podcasts. And obviously, we got a big cricket series coming. I know you're a cricket fan, Gov. Not.
Yep. Yeah.
The Ashes is starting Friday. This coming Friday. This Tuesday night, we are live. I think about 8:45, and we got an Australian on the show as well, who's down playing cricket. I think he's for Neil's team. A guy called Harry comes from Western Australia. So we get a bit of Oz flavour. So if you're into your cricket, give it a watch. Come and join in. And if you're not into your cricket, come and watch it anyway.
Yeah, depending on how the Ashes series goes, you might see a lot of our Australian friend, or you might see very little of our Australian friend.
That's like we see a lot of him, but England are giving him a good hiding. But we will wait and see.
We shall see. But that reminds me of the show against MK Dons at home, where we saw the MK Dons boys before the show.
Haven't they, weren't they?
Yeah, and then they weren't so.
We'll be seeing them next season because they're in League Two. Anyway,
well, in the Championship.
What about David McGoldrick then, Martin, dropping down to League Two? Notts County, his boyhood club, where he started in the academy. Always said he wanted to go there. 2-year contract. Derby fans are crying. Lost their main man.
As they should be. It was a good player for them last year. It's been a good weekend, actually, for real football live stories. Because obviously, McGoldrick joining his boyhood club after a great year in League One. I dare say he could have had a number of suitors if he wanted to leave Derby and go elsewhere. And then obviously last night, Jack Grealish with emotional, real interview on BT Sport.
He was at Notts County. He was at Notts County when he was younger. He was on loan there. Look, I only watched because we were delayed on the time. It's quite interesting. There was the guy sitting next to me. He was a Boreham Wood fan, so I've got the football on. It was obviously on YouTube, and we were watching it. Got to half time, and then they had an announcement. Due to being busy in the air, will we have a 40-minute delay? And everyone groaned, and there was me and him going, yes, we can watch a little bit more of the football. So I got to about 60 minutes, and then I had to turn it off because we took off. So I didn't know the result until we landed. So I've not really seen much. I see the sort of highlights, but I've not sort of seen any of the interviews or anything after. I see Grealish in his kit this morning. He's still in his kit, going at 7:10 this morning.
National treasure. Need to look after him. There he is, still in his football kit, living, loving, and enjoying his life. Why not?
Look, people who have their opinion on Man City, obviously they got all them charges go against them. But if you're going on purely football, they've been a really. Look, Pep had to. I think he had to win that trophy. He's obviously won it at Barcelona, didn't win it at Bayern Munich. But to sort of defy his legacy at City, he had to win it. And then I heard him on the radio. Look, he wants to win it again now. So, and they had a little bit of luck. I've watched the highlights last night. Lukaku should really score. Shouldn't he? With a header anywhere else. But
he was their best defender for 10 minutes. Lukaku.
Yeah, the other one. But you need a little bit of luck. And look, City have. Look, they've been the best team in the Champions League, and they finally won it. So. But it's interesting, wasn't it, watching that game when you look back that Town had beaten Inter Milan in 2001, and then the season before they'd relegated Man City. So it's just little bits like that when you think football's. Look, I'm not ever saying that Town are ever going to win the Champions League, but football does go in cycles, and hopefully ours is obviously on the upward curve.
Absolutely, yeah. Talking of Town football, I hear or see you tweeted a little bit about our player of the year. I'd be amiss if I didn't press into that subject a little bit.
A little whisper. Connor Chaplin will be signing a new contract, and look, it's a no-brainer, Gov, when you think he's only got a year left anyway. So, I was reading actually Stuart Watson's. I think Sam Morsey, he's got a year left, and he was saying, I didn't quite agree with him. Now, he said Morsey will be 32, I think in October. He said he'd give Sam Morsey a 3-year contract, Gov. Now, I think for someone who's 32, I don't think I'll give him a 3-year contract. I'd give him, he's got another year. I'd probably give him a year with another 12 months on top of that. I think at his age, and I know he hasn't had many fitness issues, but do you really see many 32-year-olds getting 3-year contracts?
2 with an option of 1?
Possibly. I don't see a 3-year contract. I don't see
not outright.
No, I'd definitely be signing him. And you've got to think at some of these players, even McKenna now. Obviously these clubs are looking at him. I'd be staggered, Martin, if we got to the start of the season and Kieran McKenna's not signed a new contract at Town. I really would. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, yeah. We saw the report, obviously linking him with Celtic. Then there was some rumblings that he turned Celtic down, or he wouldn't move to Celtic or whatever. You feel that it's an interesting time, right? Because it's dead quiet, but a bit like a Western film, where the old tumbleweed flies across just before the strike of midday, and the guns come out, and it's the Western state scene. But what is going on? Because Massimo, no update in terms of that. Sonny, no update in terms of that. What you feeling on the ground?
3 weeks ago, they were offered the deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just look. Obviously, they're away, but does it really matter if you're?
They got a pen. They got a fax machine and a pen.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. You can sign a contract. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. It's just really, really quiet at the minute, and it's all going to burst into life. I see we had a few fixtures been announced. I think I'm going to go do the Felix Stowe game. I'll probably do the Stevenage game. I'm not really one for friendlies, but it's just like I said to Matt and you on the WhatsApp. Phillips don't venture outside of Chelmsford, so there's no chance of him going to any friendlies. But I just go and just Richard Chandler said on the Discord, just meet up a few people, and it's just a bit of a day out. And
I like the fix. I want one. Particularly if it's a nice sunny day, beers down the seafront afterwards.
have you been there
I
before?
might try and do Stevenage and Cambridge on the same day.
Well, I think it's 30 miles, so you can.
Achievable.
Yeah, but
Believe in you, achieve and all that.
but
But have I been to Fix and Warden? Did
we
you?
played Cambridge last year. I've had enough of going to the Abbey.
Yeah, but it's nice to go in a friendly for once and not an actual league game.
Sure. Well, I remember the last time we went to the friendly at Cambridge, Flynn Downs ended up headbutting somebody.
European champion now, mate. European champion.
I was pleased for West Ham. I was pleased for Moyes. I watched the game. Obviously, Flynn was on the bench. A little bit disappointed Cresswell didn't play. Obviously, been there 10 years, but I think Moyes got his tactics right. He got his lineup pretty much spot on. And
Moyes.
if you're a West Ham fan, I think you'll probably still be singing the Jarrod Bowen song, wouldn't you?
Even Danny Dyer's singing the Jarrod Bowen. He said in an interview, I even sometimes get it started.
That's it.
Love it. He's like, it's a compliment.
Is he playing
like,
tonight?
Jarrod Bowen.
Is he playing in Soccer Aid? I think he's there, isn't he, Danny Dyer?
He's there, definitely there tonight. I don't know if he's actually playing. I'm sure he will. Everyone gets.
But look, that shows that look, it's the third competition. It's probably the old Cup Winners' Cup. But listen,
Toto.
Anybody say to Town or any like West Ham not won a European trophy since I think it's the 60s. You know, there's only 2 other captains who have lifted trophies for them. So Declan Rice now he's obviously in with Bobby Moore and Billy Bonds. You know, lifting a trophy. So for anybody saying to West Ham ain't going to bother about that, are they? Oh, it's the third. They've won a European trophy, mate. They've had a better season than Arsenal. They've had a better season than Spurs. Chelsea.
Well, yeah. Much
They
better.
have.
Absolutely.
It's all about winning trophies, and they put a trophy in the old trophy cabinet. So look, I'm not a big West Ham fan, but look, fair play to them.
What they need to do now, though, is obviously stick the 3 winners into a little competition of their own to see who the true European champion is, you know? So you've got City, the Europa League winner, the Europa Conference League winner. Get it on. Bing. Let's see who the real European champion is. Probably Man City. Remember where you parked your car if you go to pre-season away games. Yeah, the game's covered. That is true. As James says, hit that like button, people. Hit that like button. All right, so 5 fixtures that define the season. I've got 2. I'll sprinkle those in amongst your 5. Phillips gave his 5 last week. We'll get a number of voices through the week on social media. Kick us off then.
Of course. Look, I didn't really want to look, but look, we all know about Barnsley, Gov. We were there.
Of course we do, yeah.
And it's in, like I said, it's in the top 10 of games I've probably ever been to watch Town. So, but I can't really put it in my 5 when most people are probably going to pick it.
Absolutely.
Matt's had it as well. And there's plenty of other games. So, first game for me, go all the way back to the 1st of October. Saturday, the 1st of October. Unbeaten Pompey are in town. Flying high. That was a time when the Cowleys were doing pretty well, weren't they?
They were doing pretty well, yeah.
And everyone's, oh yeah, Pompey, they're decent side. They're going to be up there all season. And then it fell away, didn't it? So
it did for them, yeah.
And we just lost the previous Sunday. We were away at Plymouth on the TV. So we lost. And it's all about bouncing back for me. So it was a big game. Obviously, I think that we were both on the same points. Obviously, going into that game. And it was a really good game. Obviously, Town went on to win 3-2. But it was a bit ebbed and flowed, didn't it? It was one of them games when you're thinking, oh, look, we got in the lead. And then Colby Bishop scores a penalty. And then Big Fred hadn't scored a league goal. Big Fred hadn't scored a league goal going into that game. Comes off the bench, doesn't he, on 72 minutes. 2 minutes later, cut back from, I think it was Leif Davis, down the left, cuts it back to the edge of the box. First time on it, bang. Top corner, and we're all thinking, brilliant. We're on our way to 3 points. 2-1, Town. And then literally, I think it was, 3 or 4 minutes later? Where are we? 74? Yeah, 5 minutes later. I think that was the Morsey one, wasn't it? It's the handball.
Yes, that's right. It was.
Sir Alf End, and obviously, look, we're all disappointed. We're thinking, oh, bloody hell, here we go again. Bishop sticks it away. But then,
a minute later,
60 seconds later, Kyle Edwards. He come off the bench as well that day.
He did.
He had a few good cameos, didn't he, this season, the Kyle off the bench?
Not as many as as you'd have liked, but
interesting. interesting. I was on the socials. What's the lad who does he does his transfer? Is it Thomas Lane?
Could be.
Does his
Yeah.
And he was on about Carl Edwards. Good. He suggested next season a League One loan. Now, yeah, but I don't think so now. Yeah, but it's either now. What do you do with Kyle? Is he ever going to be? Is he going to be a starter, Gov, in a Kieran McKenna team?
Probably not.
No, I don't see where. Look, he had some good cameos, like we said, and he's scored a few goals. But I don't ever see him making that step up and making that breakthrough to be a regular. I'm not saying he can't play in the Championship, because I think he can. He's very talented. But I think he's always going to be. Look, he seems one of the happiest players I've ever seen at Town. You know, he's happy. He seems happy. He comes off the bench. He's involved. But at his age, you got to be thinking now that you've got to nail down a starting berth. Is it ever going to be at Town? I seriously doubt, Gov, that he's going to be week in, week out starting the games. I'm not saying he can't, because I think he can, but I don't see where he gets in at the minute. Off the bench, yeah. But is he going to be happy with just coming off the bench? Maybe he will. Maybe he will. And Kieran, obviously, he's improved everybody, and he's improved Kyle. But I think sooner or later, you're probably going to think, right, I need to go somewhere, and I need to play week in, week out, Saturday, Tuesday. Got to do that. Is it a Town? I don't know. But yeah, look, he danced down the left, didn't he? And it was a deflected cross. He's took out, I can't remember the Portsmouth goalie's name. Looped over his head, and there's Wes literally standing. Maybe. Wes is literally standing on the line. I think it hits him on the head nearly, isn't it? I don't think he heads it. So it just pops it in there. And look, we're all delighted, and we go on to win that game 3-2. We go up to second in the league. That was Pompey's first defeat. And then it was started a sort of run for them, didn't it? Where I think they struggled and then they sort of just dropped away. And what was it, 10 games? I think we played 10 games then, haven't we?
Yeah, interestingly, because obviously leading up to that game, you lost at Plymouth on Sky, where I still say Connor Chaplin was fouled. Yeah, Wednesday, leading 2-0, pegged back to 2-2. And that was the other two results in the month before, coupled with 2 victories against Accrington Stanley and Bristol Rovers. So you felt going into that point of the season, is it a wobble? Portsmouth unbeaten, sitting at the top of the tree with us. Let's see what we've got. And obviously, every time they pegged us back, as they did in the game, 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, it just felt for 60 seconds at least that, oh dear, what's sort of going on here? But it springboarded us, it galvanized. Don't forget either, at that time, you see the Dapo's name there. And as Town fans, we now sit here looking back and say, of course the Dapo scored. But at that point, it came after Arsenal, where if I'm right in thinking there was sections of the crowd on his back. He hadn't scored up until that point. He scored one against Plymouth the week before. That really set him up. And there was still this massive unknown about the striker, Freddie Ladapo, what we had. So it was a really interesting point. Obviously, good to see him get his second goal. And that Arsenal game in itself, that was the game, wasn't it? The Papa John's where there was...
Yeah, one of them games he was getting a bit of stick from the crowd. They said it was it was good-natured. Some people said it wasn't. He was getting...
But there was legitimate question marks
I think he scored in that game, didn't he? In the Papa John's game. That might have been the Northampton game. Was that the Northampton game when they won 6-0? I think that might have been the game.
It was Arsenal game. He might have scored against Northampton, but it was the Arsenal game one before them. But it was that time where it was that question mark about the striker, wasn't there?
Well, I think there was a question mark even about the team, because I think we probably said on here, and it had been mentioned in the media, about Town beating top 16 line. We'd struggled the season before, and this was, I know it's only game 10, but like you say, Sheffield Wednesday 2-0 up, 2-2. Went to Plymouth, played well for probably a lot of that game, winning 1-0, pegged us back, 2-1, we lost. So this was a big
Barnsley
game.
pegged back, drew. So the big games we'd stumbled in.
This was at the stage of the season. It was, I know it's only the 10th game, but it sort of said to me, right, we've shown that we can beat a team who, I think a lot of people probably thought Pompey were going to be up there. I know they fell away, but at the time it was important. And that was why I put it in my 5, because there's a lot of games, and you could have gone a lot of games towards the end of the season where we're on this fantastic run, and like several of my, I think the four of them are obviously in the second
We'll
half of the
cover it.
season.
We'll cover it. We'll cover it.
But
We'll
I think
cover it. I'll tell you why,
early on,
right?
I think it was an important victory at the time against a team who we thought were going to be one of the teams at the top.
Okay. All right. You've had Portsmouth. I'll give you my one. It is Portsmouth, but it's the away game. Portsmouth 2, Ipswich 2.
I was quite interested last week as I was watching, and you used the words, it was a disgusting result. And I always thought, at the time,
disgusting result.
I didn't agree with you.
Kings got sacked 7 days later.
But look, we were lucky in the end because we were losing 2-1, and obviously Connor Chaplin scored in the 87th minute. But I always feel that we'll talk about Marlon Pack's goal in a minute because I know Mike's in the chat. We can revisit that.
We can revisit that, yes.
But I always think Fratton Park, it's always a tricky place to go. It's night game, it's under the lights. And, yeah, I know you don't like that tough place to go. I know you don't like it. But I wasn't
that.
Not
the stench of managerial casualty in the air.
It was when we went to Lincoln, and then that was another game when we drew 1-1. That was one of them ones where I thought, look, if we get 4 points out of 2 games, I think a lot of fans would have probably been happy. And then we got 2, didn't we? Even against Lincoln, against bloody 10 men, we just huffed and puffed, and obviously Cameron Humphrey scored a goal. So, yeah.
For context, right? Leading up to the game, obviously 4-4 with Charlton had been and gone. 1-1 at home to Cheltenham. We've beaten Buxton. We drew 1-1 then following that with Fleetwood at home. Beat Posh, who were woeful at the time. We lost away at Wickham. Then beat Oxford on Boxing Day. And this was the game following it up with Lincoln coming up. And you're thinking a chance to really sort of set yourself. Portsmouth are struggling. And I know you're saying it's a tough place to go, but there's a stench of managerial casualty looming in the air. And Town were there just to put that final nail in the coffin, get 3 points, roll into New Year and face Lincoln. And we started off so slow, so poor. Pack's free kick is second to none. Christian Walton ain't saving that if he's
I think that's probably one. When you look at goals that we conceded this season, I think we only conceded, what was it, 30, 31, 32 goals? Something like that. Probably one of the best goals that have been scored against us, because a lot of games that teams scored goals, they were shit goals. This wasn't. This was a top free kick. I think it was his first goal for Pompey.
It was a great.
I think that free kick though, Martin. If you look at that that wasn't even a free kick. I think they'd given a foul against Morsey that night. It's not a foul.
It was, yeah. It wasn't a free kick. No, you're right. And then obviously following that, we've gone on a little slide. Lincoln 1-1, Plymouth 1-1. So just the context of it, you can't have high without a low. Because my next game, which I'll do my 2 now, just get them out of the way, was this one. Oxford 2, Town 1. Personally, the day my daughter went into hospital, so a day I'll never ever forget. And the football very much, I couldn't give it. I've never actually watched this game back. But you look at them at the season.
Well, I was there and I didn't even see the game there. So
exactly. So we all didn't see nothing. But you've got to hit low before you hit high. And I feel, looking at the results following this and the way McKenna then went about his business and the selection and the way we sort of switched it, changed it in the coming weeks to come, this was a moment where he got a little bit angry and a little bit shirty and a little bit bee in his bonnet. You know, the referee said one thing or didn't say another thing or whatever. Even at a fan forum the following month, he was asked about it, and it was, we don't talk about that.
Still weren't happy, was it?
No, and I think that really bled through into the club, and a real us against the world mentality. We're going to do this.
But this was a strange game. I don't think I've ever been to a game. We got there we were there early. We looked over the fence, and they got, obviously it had been frosty as well, so we're thinking, is the picture right? That was the first thing, and we got there, it's quite foggy. But then the first half, it was all right. And then I literally went down to the toilets, see a couple of mates. I've come back up, and I thought, what the hell's going on here? We're not finishing this game. There was no way, Martin, that I thought this game will finish. And it was farcical. It really was. This was Oxford's first win. They went about another 14 games before they had another victory. You know? Yeah. Great goal Cameron Brannigan scored there. I didn't really see it. I've seen it on the replay.
Saw it, did they?
But it was one of them games where you're thinking, look, we all bemoan the officials in this league. And the linesman was on our side second half. There was no way he could see across that pitch. No way on earth. I still sit here now. I don't know how that game finished. I know. Is it sour grapes that we lost? Not really. You know, we shouldn't have lost the game. I think we hit the bar or the post right at the end. I think it was Broadhead. Harry Clark actually came on. But it left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. And you're thinking at that stage of the season, you're thinking, oh, bloody hell. You know, like you're saying, the results before. You know, we hadn't exactly been setting the world alight. We'd hammered this lot 3-0 on Boxing Day. They were crap. They started, I think the first 20 minutes, they were all right. But it was so comfortable. And you're thinking, how have we managed to lose to Oxford? We can all blame the conditions. They were the same for both teams. You know, they were. And obviously Oxford, even Carl Robinson, I think he said if the game had been abandoned, I don't think he'd have been that worried. If it was, look, as soon as they went 2-1 up, your game's never getting called off. Was it 83 minutes? Look, but it was 70 minutes. They should have knocked it on the head and said, right, we'll come back and we'll play this game another day. It should have been, but it wasn't. And
it wasn't exactly. But Stephen said the turning point.
Yeah, it didn't really affect us. It could have done.
It was the start of the curve, wasn't it? The start of where you're sort of coming down, you're coming back up. It was the cruise liner turning itself around and leaving foggy shores. Because after that, it was plain sailing. We're not after that.
This is the last game we've lost this season, isn't it? This is our last defeat. So I think 19 games unbeaten we went. So
yeah.
There you go.
€5 from David. Appreciate that, David. Appreciate that. Thanks ever so much. Because they're my two, which directly leading on from that, actually, which is where we've following the path which I've set, is Cambridge 1, Ipswich 1. Only 3 fixtures.
Beautiful flag there. Look at that.
Only three fixtures after Oxford. We beat Morecambe. No, 2 fixtures. Beat Morecambe, drew with Burnley. And then we went to Cambridge and we drew 1-1. Rich, this is in your 5 defining. Talk to me.
We obviously went to Cambridge last season. You were there. 2-0 up. Drew 2-2. So, obviously, I never thought it'd be an easy game going there. I thought, look, this is a game that Town really need to win. And then we see Richard Keogh's in the lineup with George Evanson in the centre of defence. And you're thinking, blimey. That was actually Keogh's last start this game. And we all remember the second half when he was running in. Well, I don't know what he was running in when Sam Smith was 5 yards behind. What the fuck is going on here? Because he's like giving him a 5-yard head start. I'm thinking, you're in trouble here, mate. You're going nowhere.
Remembered it. Oh God!
We started all right. I thought we were all right. I thought we're pretty much in control. We had Harry Clark. It was one of his early games. Showed that he got a long throw. Thought, blimey, this is a bit of a new weapon. And then Harvey Nibbs scores. It was a great goal. Half volley, 24 minutes, edge of the box, 1-0. I thought, oh, blimey, here we go. Making it. Look, it's Ipswich, Gov. We always know we're going to make things hard for ourselves. We never go to these grounds and we never get an early goal, make it easy, and it's a comfortable. And then, obviously, the turning point in this game is the penalty. George Edmondson, I think, gives it away before half time, and we're all thinking, oh, he's gone. We're all thinking, look, we're thinking we're in trouble here, because if we'd have gone 2-0 down there, I'll tell you what, we would not be coming back in that game. No. This is a big moment in our season. I know we've only drawn this game 1-1, but it could have been a defeat, and it was a point. At the end of the day, it was a point. And I know we weren't happy, and I think it was after the game, the players were getting a bit stick when they came over. Wes was getting it in the ear, and you're thinking, yeah, this is not good. But you have to look at it and think, right, we didn't lose this game. If Joe Ironside scores that penalty, I'm pretty sure we would have lost that game. I don't think that we come back. Then you look at half time. I think this is the only time this season. Kieran makes 3 subs go. Lee Evans is off injured. Marcus Harness comes on. He takes off his 2 fullbacks. Leif Davis, probably one of Leif's poorest 45s this is at Cambridge, I think. He didn't have many this season, but he didn't play very well. He's put Kyle Edwards at left wing back. Harry Clark goes off and JD comes on. And I think that second half there, he's literally played Morsey in the middle on his own. Literally everyone else, we're attacking. And I'm thinking, blimey, he's having a go here. Kyle Edwards, this is another game that he shines for probably about 20, 25 minutes, because great bit of skill. He down the left-hand side and he pulls it back and Freddie equalises 1-1. And I think that stage, 54 minutes, I think most people watching, most people in that ground thought, right, Town are going to go on and win this game. We've come out, We've got the early goal. We're turning it around. And then for about 15 minutes, we were on top. But then this is the early stages of you've got your broadheads. He didn't really excel that game, Martin. He didn't really get in the game. George Hurst comes on. I think this was one of the only times when Hurst and Ladapo probably played up front together. He brought him on, I think, probably about 20 minutes to go. We had a go, and then last 15 minutes, they come back into the game. And it was one of them games, and you're thinking, blimey, we could actually lose it. So this is what I'm saying. I know we're all disappointed that we didn't win this game because you think you're going to Cambridge, you're chasing promotion. They were down the bottom struggling. Really, you think Town should put them away and come away with 3 points, but we didn't. But it was a game that we didn't lose. You know, we could have lost. We could have lost. This is what I'm saying, Christian Walton. There's moments in the season, and we'll get on to another one in a minute. And I think this was a massive moment in the season because that penalty goes in 2-0. I think it's game over. And it could have been, well, we might not be sitting here. We might not have been promoted because we don't know what would have happened if we'd have lost that game. But we didn't, and we drew 1-1. So I still think that was an important point. I wouldn't have been happy. Look, before the game, going to Cambridge, I wanted to win the game. I thought, yeah, we need a win. But we didn't lose, and I thought that was vile.
Wasn't Clark's best game either in a Town shirt.
Struggled.
Back in,
I think there's a couple of times when I think even in the lead up, I think to the penalty, Gov, I think Ironside sort of brushes him off a couple of times. I was actually surprised. He's dropped down to League Two. I see he signed for Doncaster, which
good signing for them.
Yeah, but I thought when we played them, the only game that I don't think he played in the game when Town won 3-0. The game when they Cambridge beat us the season before 1-0 at home, I thought he played well. I thought he played well when look, we're going to get back to the foul on Burgess that you thought was a foul when in the 2-2 game. I just thought he's too strong. But I thought that first half, he was a pest in this game. And Harry Clark did struggle physically against him.
He did. And that this game here, along with my game, is that it's part of that 4-game set where the season really sort of hit rock bottom and then bounced itself back out. Oxford game I just mentioned before, defeat. Cambridge drawn. Wednesday draw. Rovers draw. And obviously Burnley defeat in the cup replay was the other game in that 4 or 5 game period. But each one of those games leads into where we rebounded to. You know, it led to McKenna getting a B in his bonnet, Oxford. It led into resilience, Cambridge and Wednesday. And it leads into a unity and a fire, Morsey, Bristol Rovers. And then suddenly all those ingredients came together. And they started to come together and snowball. And this is when we start to come into the fun part of the 3 games you've got left. Because we've got... Which game do you want me to bring up first? You've got 3 left.
Yeah, the next one, Saturday, 11th of March. Bolton 0, Town 2. Bolton, 9 unbeaten, Gov, at home they were. Mm-hmm. And people were saying, weren't they? Oh, yeah, but you're playing the easy games. Oh, look, you had Forest Green. You've had Accrington. Hang on. But you've got to go to Bolton. You've got to go to Derby. You've got to go to Peterborough. You've got to go to Barnsley. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went to all of them and we didn't concede a goal. And we won every single game. And this was the start of that. And this was in the run of clean sheets. And this was George Hurst. He struggled. I think we all must admit. Look, he played quite well in the 2 cup games, Burnley. Obviously got the goal in the replay at Turf Moor. Mm-hmm. But if you watch that, look, this is perfect counter-attack, the goal, just before, right on half-time when it Wes down the right-hand side. He puts a great cross in. It's one of them ones where, look, George Hurst must do this in training 20 times a session of just practicing them finishes. And it was just like a training ground goal for me. Like he's on the run, just caressed it in the corner. Perfect time, wasn't it? Right on half time, 44 minutes. So we go in 1-0 and we're thinking, right, this is good. Yeah. We're on that run. I think we're unbeaten in 8 going into this game. So, and then second half, 50 minutes. And there's another penalty. And we're thinking, here we go again. Yeah. 1-0, score that goal right on half time. You think, go out there, first 15, 20 minutes. Don't do nothing silly. And we give a penalty away. And we're thinking, bloody hell. Dion Charles. He's good from the spot. But Walton guesses right again, doesn't he? Down to his left. It's a great save. And I think I see Everett's interview after the game, and he said that it was one of them moments in a game when I think it knocked the stuffing out of them. Because if it had gone back to 1-1 just after half time, the crowd's going to get behind them, and it's going to be more difficult for Town. But it sort of knocked them. It's given us a massive lift. I think we took. I didn't go to this game. Colin went. I know Colin went. I think it was over 2,000 at the Reebok. Whatever it's called, University of Bolton Stadium, I think it's called now. I can't remember. But massive turning point. And then Cameron Burgess scores. Great header from another Leif Davis set piece. 2-0. Taron header. 6 clean sheets on the trot. It's 9 unbeaten. Town are 2 points off second. And we are absolutely rolling into some proper form. And we were all starting to think, right.
Yeah.
Because a few games before, look, I said after the Bristol Rovers game, I've done it on the Wednesday with Colin. I said, if anyone thinks we're going to get top 2, they need their head reading because we'd gone. We had gone. We were struggling. We weren't scoring goals. Look, we all know the Bristol Rovers game. That was in Matt's. It might have been in mine, but look, I don't want to just go over it. And I wanted to go something different. And this Bolton game, it showed everybody that we're going on the road here, a difficult place. And we've come away with a 2-0 win. And we're thinking, right, look, I know we've got to go to Derby. I know we've got to go to Peterborough, Barnsley, but we're not worried about them. They should be worrying about us. So then it's in a right good spot. We're 2 points off second. But this is just before I think Wednesday start having their meltdown, isn't it, really?
It is. And Bolton, whatever name they want to call their stadium, it always holds a special place and ghosts for Town fans. It always does. And if you look, you say unbeaten in 8, and that was a big thing being floated around at the time. Like we're unbeaten in XYZ. But you're right in what you said before that. We're drawn against Cambridge. We're drawn against Wednesday, drawn against Rovers, beaten Forest Green, who, other than Wednesday and that one special game, we're being beaten by everybody. MK Dons we beat, who again at the time were struggling. Burton we beat, again down the bottom. Accrington Stanley we beat. Some fans were right, we're beating those teams, but that's flat bullies. What can we do? Absolutely. Yeah. So to go away at Bolton and play in the manner we did, which is chalk and cheese to your last one. You think about your last away game, Cambridge, and this away game, absolute chalk and cheese in performance alone. Forget result, but performance, chalk and cheese. And interesting, I don't know if you know this, but heading into the game, you'd had Bristol Rovers, Forest Green, MK Dons, Burton, Accrington Stanley, and George Hurst had played in 3 of those, and not played in 2. And he came into the side after not playing the game before. The game before was Accrington Stanley, where Freddie Ladapo had played. Game before that was Burton at home, where Ladapo had played. And he came in. Question eyebrows are raised.
Yeah.
He's changed Ladapo. He's brought Hurst back. We're winning games. Oh, is he back to playing McKenna ball? And it paid off. And after that, I think Ladapo played or started twice more.
Yeah.
It was Hurst's shirt to lose from this point on. This was Hurst emerging this game, if you like.
Yeah, no, like I said, he'd had the 2 cup games where he'd impressed, but this was the start of his first league goal for us. And then he obviously
was really emerging, wasn't he, as well?
Yeah,
we were finding how to find him and play with him.
He did stick with him. I think it was my next game, the Port Vale game. Ladapo started that game, and I think when we going into that game, it showed the difference for me that night. Hurst and Ladapo. I'm not saying Freddie. Look, they're different players. But I think for the way that we play under McKenna, and we've spoke about this before with Freddie when he came in, that he played with Michael Smith and he played in the 2, so he was learning that new role. Look, this was, I think, if you're going to have a run as good as we had, this was one of these games where I think McKenna touched on this when I went to the dinner. This was one of his favourite games that you're going to go behind somewhere. And we were at the business end of the season, weren't we, right here?
Yeah.
And I remember that Tuesday, we're rocking up to Port Vale and we're thinking, Port Vale at home, just sacked their manager, Darryl Clark. I think on the Monday, I think he's gone. So they've got the temporary manager in.
True, yeah.
They were on a poor run. And I think, look, the majority of fans going there that evening thought, right, Port Vale, we'll roll this lot over. And I always remember the goal that they scored right on our time. I think it was into injury time. And it was as if someone had sucked the life out of that stadium. When it went in, you could literally just hear everyone go, take a massive intake of breath and think, oh, no, here we go. You know, and you're thinking, oh, shit. Because I know we had that game in hand at Barnsley, obviously the game that was cancelled because of the internationals. So we had a little bit of a safety net. But Port Vale at home, you're thinking, this took me back to when we lost to Crewe, Gov, when George Burley was in charge, right near the end of the season. And it was one of them games where you think, it's almost a nailed on your Paul's coupon, home win. Yeah. So we go in at the break 1-0 down and you're thinking, oh, shit. And I went going out to the loo and the guy who sits behind me was out there with his, sits behind with his son. He went out, he always goes out early. So I said, oh, no. He said, oh, what happened? I said, oh, we're losing 1-0. I was like, oh, shit. And you're thinking, oh, dear. But the reaction we showed in that second half, and look, it helped, didn't it? Nathan Broadhead, 53 minutes. Now, these are the games that he was brought in to show that he was the needle mover. Like, he's to stand up when you need to be counted and got that goal. So we're back 1-0, and it was pretty much one-way traffic when it's second half. We had a lot of the ball without really we didn't really create loads and loads of chances. And look, the clock's ticking down 70 minutes, 75, 80, and you're thinking, bloody hell. And then, look, we come to the penalty that we got given, which I think there's 3 appeals. Handball. And then literally, he's basketball away. And I'll always remember, if you watch the highlights, there's Wolfie's literally running at the referee.
Yeah, he's steaming in, isn't he?
So he's giving it. And it was, you're thinking...
Got some brakes on him, don't he?
He literally stopped. But
pulls up so sharply.
Thinking, right, you as a fan, we've got no control, right? No, we're there, and you're thinking, shit. Nathan Broadhead was the coolest person in that stadium that night at that moment, because there's a lot of fans. I did watch, but I'm thinking, I don't really want to. I remember my dad had gone into hospital that day. So this is quite emotional for me. And I just think the way he took that penalty and the noise when that went in, it was, I don't know if I've heard, look, this season we've obviously had some big moments at Pullman Road. But when that goal went in, the roof I thought was going to come off the stadium. The way they celebrated, look, and you think, look, Town have beaten Port Vale, wow, but that was a massive 3 points that night, Cove. To come back, they showed that they got a bit of bottle. We 1-0 down. It could have gone against us, and you think, as soon as that went in, you think, right, and then. We're going to my next game in a minute, but you're thinking, look, we're nearly there. We're getting there, and we made hard work of it. We probably did make heavy weather of it that night, but you do need. It's that stage of the season. It doesn't really matter how you play. I know. Look, the next game that I come to, look, we absolutely steamrolled at Peterborough. That's my 5th game, but that night we deserved the win. But I think that you have to give massive credit to Port Vale that night, because they come to town on an absolutely stinking run with a manager who's just come in. They had a good game plan. And you think, you're sitting there, you'd have probably took 0-0 at half time because we hadn't played that well. We haven't really got going. And then to go 1-0 down, you think, oh, bloody hell. But look, we kept cool heads. And we got the job done in the end.
They say you learn more in defeat. And if you want to go back to those 4 games where it wasn't so rosy, we learned resilience in those in that Cambridge game and that Wednesday game, and that resilience really comes to the fore when you needed it the most. They went a goal down, they went to the dressing room, they pulled their socks up, they came out, and they just went at Port Vale. They weren't disheartened, they weren't knocked back. There wasn't what's going on here. You could draw upon your toolbox, if you like, to use that resilience. But Broadhead's first goal is class, lovely goal. That's the real class goal. The second goal is a character goal and a big moment equals
It's a
big
great penalty.
player.
If
It
you
is in
watch
a big
that-
pressure, high pressure situation.
Yes.
84 minutes, clock is ticking. You've got the Port Vale players around him. As there always is every penalty situation in terms of trying to get into the ear of the taker. You know what's going on in terms of your promotion charge. You know what Wednesday are up to in the sense of are they crumbling or not. We all know they were.
we're winning that
League
night. I think they won at
table.
Bristol. I think they Bristol Rovers that night. I think they won. I think the top three won that night because I think Plymouth scored late at Shrewsbury that night. So they all won, and it was massive that we had to keep. You just got to keep winning. Just got to keep rolling them wins out at that stage of the season because look, you can't control. I said before, you can't control what the other teams are doing around you. You only got destiny in your own hands, and it showed a lot of bottle that night.
Or in that case, that destiny was in the hands of Nathan Broadhead, and he didn't waste it, and he absolutely thundered it past the Port Vale goalkeeper. Just a big moment, big player. Way to endear yourself to the fans. Love it. And it leads you on to the moment where you then look at the fixture list. You've beaten Port Vale, as you say. Many fans would say, "Oh, Port Vale, big." But you had Peterborough and Barnsley, two huge tests coming up, and you had to get results there. The other teams, Plymouth and Wednesday, have been looking and saying they've got to go to Barnsley, got to go to Peterborough. They've not won at London Road in XYZ. They're going to drop points there, boys. Believe it, they will. And Town fans could have been easily feeling the same. Now, we've done Barnsley to death, so we'll do the other one. And you mentioned it a second ago, but your last game is Posh 0, Town 3.
Look, it was just a great away day. You get there, we all headed down to Charters. We went in there, and I don't think there was a Peterborough fan in there, was there? They were queuing to get over the bridge, to get in over the bridge, weren't they? I've never seen. Look, the weather was great, wasn't it? It was April, the sun's shining. You're looking at them fixtures and you're thinking, right, we need 3 wins. How are we going to do it? Because we got, like you say, we ain't got a great record there, have we? Peterborough, we got stuff 7-1 on the telly. We drew there under Lambert. I think Chambers obviously scored in the last minute. I think we lost during the COVID. We lost 2-1 there. So not a great record. First time I've ever seen them win there. I was confident they're going into that game. I thought, right, we know what we're about now. We are on a roll, but you still never know. You still never know. You're going into that game. I think, what was there, 4,000 there, Gov, that day?
Yep.
I was rocking. It was really rocking, and it was, I'd say, near perfect away performance that day. They hardly laid a glove on us, did they? Attacking wise, Clark Harris, he had a couple of chances, didn't he? He had the one where just before half time, just outside the area. There was a big moment in that game with Walton when we're 1-0 up from the centre half.
It's the picture there with the corner.
About 6 yards out, he hits it straight at him. We still got to be there. He saves it. So, but look, we got the early goal through Wes. So we're going in at 1-0, and then they're attacking us second half, and you're thinking, cool. And then the second goal. Look, we've just waxed lyrical about Broadhead and what he'd done in that Port Vale game. That through ball to Connor Chaplin, he does that little reverse, doesn't he? Beautiful, isn't it? Chappers in on his left foot, bang, 2-0 straight through the goalie's legs. And I think then we knew, look, they ain't coming back from this. No, we're 2-0 away. We don't let goals in. I think most of the people in that stadium there, and it was like a party, wasn't it? The last half hour, because we're having a good day out in the sun. We're 2-0 up. We're getting nearer to promotion, and then I think this goal, Gov, goes a little bit sort of under the radar. If this had been any other game, we'd have been talking about the Dapo's goal. I mean, it's a cross, and he sort of chests it and then sort of volleys it all in nearly one movement, doesn't he? Or being fouled. Yeah, being pulled. He's all over him. He's all over him, and it's 3-0, and you think you don't get much better than this. 3-0 on the road. The sun's shining. Special game. In control from start to finish. Real special game. And you're taking that numbers away as well. You got 4,000 there, and you got a lot of kids there they've never seen anything like this. watching Town, my free. Never seen anything like it. We're having a bloody party. You're thinking the job is almost done now. It is almost done. We're almost there. And look, and then it leads into Barnsley, and we all know what happened there. But this was in them 4 away games where people said, yeah, but you're beating Forest Green, you're beating Accrington. It'll be hard when you go to Peterborough. It'll be hard when you go to Derby. Didn't look very hard that day, did it, when we're rolling them over 3-0?
No, it didn't, and that was a really special thing. And I'm huge on character arcs in TV shows making sense. And if you look at Ipswich Town as a TV character, the character arc makes perfect sense. You've got Oxford, Cambridge, Wednesday Rovers. That's the low. That's the bottom. And you're thinking, where can this character go from here? And it sets up a huge 3 games: Posh, Barnsley, Exeter. You could throw Fleetwood in there because the title was still on the line, and that's the arc being completed. Because if that was the low, this was the start of the euphoric high where it started to snowball, started to build. It was Posh.
I know a lot of people I know a lot of people go, will have Exeter in their 5 for what it meant. Obviously, we got over the line that day. Portmore.
That's only special because you get special. Yeah, this starts the moment.
We've done the hard work. We've done the hard work in these games at your Derby's away, your Bolton's away.
This is the bad guys becoming good guys, the heroes.
Yeah.
Special ones.
And this was where all these games, like you were seeing, like your Port Vale, like even your Bolton, you were seeing a little bit more of McKenna come out at the end of them games. A little bit. He was allowing himself just a little bit more because he's thinking, oh, we're getting close now.
Yeah.
We could see it coming out. That emotion, that little bit of emotion, he was showing that little bit more because he has to keep a lid on it. I know that because he's the manager, but he was allowing himself a little bit, and he was probably thinking at the back of his mind, we're going to do this. He's not going to say it. He ain't going to come out and say it because a manager will never say that. But I think he knew himself, like, these games, we're going to get over the line.
And the players did. They say wolves can smell their prey from 2 miles away. Well, this was a group of hungry wolves that could certainly smell promotion from 4 games out. They were smelling it. They were after it. Barnsley came around the next week, which we featured. We'll talk about forever and a day. We're 2-0 up at half-time, but the players are desperate to get in that change room, desperate to get back out in the field, to get more. They're hungry. They want. They want it. And this was a group of hungry wolves that were just eating everything and anything in their way. It was such a special time to be a Town fan. And people forever and a day, if we do turn into a Man City, to bring it back around to the start of the show, which you said, I don't think we ever will, but if we could, it gives you hope to achieve. These are the games where you can sit there and you'll sit in the pub before a Champions League final. I'm sure the City fans would do. And they'll say, yeah, but do you remember the special times of Posh, Barnsley? You know, the real in League One shit stadia, 3 stands some teams have got. This moment can never be taken away from them.
Man City's moment was the Gillingham game at Wembley. When they're 2-0 down into injury time and the game's gone. And you're thinking, the game's over here. And then we all know what happened. Paul Dickoff scores.
Nicky Weaver.
Nicky Weaver saved the penalties. It's moments like that. As a supporter, as a football supporter, I know there'll be a lot of fans who were probably in Istanbul last night who support City, were at Wembley that day. You know, this is where I know Man City have got a lot of money, Gov, but I don't mind them. I know a lot of people say that they've bought the league. But a lot of their supporters have been there in League One when they went down.
Yeah.
You know, so that journey they've been on is massive. You know, and we're just at the start of it. I'm not saying we're going to get anywhere near that, but we're on that little journey.
But what on what scale do you compare the two? You know, like you've got Rodri, you've got Erling Haaland, you've got all this money, whether you agree with the money or not, and the players. In a game where everyone's expecting you to win the Champions League. And you're still going to win it, fine. Or win a league title. Still going to win it. But everyone wanted Town to win, but it wasn't a certain thing. It wasn't a surefire bit. Yeah, Town has spent money this year. But then they go to Barnsley 3 days later and do the same thing. Like, nobody can take this away from you as a football fan ever, 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 ever. You lived through it. You went through the journey. It was special. It is special. And it will be as special as it is today in 20 years' time, regardless of where this football club ends itself up.
Yeah.
Because it was 4 years of misery
We've been on our arse.
Finally, we were heading
We've been
somewhere.
on our arse, Gov, for not just 4 years, the countless years before that. And
just 4 years, particularly with the trio whammy signing of Ward, Cornell, and Hawkins, paraded as Messi, Aguero, and Erling Haaland being brought out as this was the start. This was the taste of what was.
I knew we were in trouble that night when you had that lad on from Northampton. I knew we were in trouble when you give us an opinion on that. Oh no, this is not going to go well, is it? I don't
think anyone's ever said that about Erling Haaland, have they? So Erling Haaland was signing from Dortmund. Just tell us about him. Oh well. Oh no. Where do I start? He's going to be the Champions League for us. Oh, Champions League. He's more like Conference League. No, it wasn't quite the same. But good games. Some really interesting fixtures throughout the year that you could really pull out as defining. I know Barnsley is in your top 10, but if you had to say out of your 5, the one that you really enjoyed the most, obviously it'll probably be one of the wins. So either Port Vale, Peterborough, or Portsmouth. Which one do you think will stand out as your favourite?
I'd probably go Port Vale. For...
Love it.
It was a game that, like I said before, that we all thought we were going to win. And I know players, the players that are prepared for that game. And Kieran had given them the respect that they deserve. Whereas fans, I think, we turn up thinking, Port Vale home? They ain't won for God knows how long. Just sack their manager. Nah, they'll be all right. Yep. But then when you're at half-time and you're 1-0 down and you're thinking, oh, Jesus. And like I say, it reminded me of Crewe when under George Burley, I think 3 games to go and we were sitting in second and we were going to get promoted. And then they threw a right spanner in the works and they beat us 2-1. And I'm thinking, you have flashbacks as a football fan of thinking, oh, no, here we go again. But like you say, Broadhead, this was why we paid the money for moments like this.
Love it.
Not just for the penalty, but like you say, the first goal, Gov, he just sweeps it in, and it's like that's why we paid $1.5 million. And then he showed so much bottle for the penalty when, like I said, so many people in that ground probably couldn't even watch, or you're watching through your fingers and thinking this has to go in because how tight it was up the top. Them 2 points made all the look. At the end of the day, we finished 2 points clear of Wednesday. So
absolutely, yeah,
it was massive.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying Peterborough was great. That was a great away.
But it was kind of a favourite for whatever the reason they want. So let us know yours in the comments. If you want us to get a clip to post on social media for us, send it to the email as mentioned at the start of the show. But that is the 2022-2023 season done. We are taking a break, but only a very short one. I say we're taking a break, but we've got the fixture release show on the 22nd. We'll be live for that in the morning.
Comes in COS, but we're still going to be on that morning.
Of course we are. Of course we are. Of course we are. Absolutely. And any transfer shows, any transfer stuff at all, like, signings, not rumours. I ain't coming on if EFL World Report was signing Messi for 400 million. But
there'll be some signings soon. It'll all burst
transfers, in or out, we are live. But in terms of regular Sunday shows, not back until the 2nd. So I say 3 weeks, not even 3 weeks, is it? 2nd of July. This has been the 2022-23 season.
It's been a fantastic year. I don't think I'm on till about the 15th of July because I can't do the 2nd, can't do the 9th. So hope everyone has a great summer. Hope everyone has a great holiday. We'll be back for the cricket show on Tuesday. And
we certainly will. Yes, we're back for the cricket show. Back for some F1 stuff as well. But anyway, for Town stuff, 2022-23 season, that was it. Town have got promoted to the Championship. We'll be back next year. Huge thank you to every single contributor that has helped me create the content throughout the year. I could list you all, but I'd probably be here for about an hour and 3 minutes. But thank you all. I will thank you individually, and you know who you are. Thank you to this man here. As always.
Great. We're not talking about Forest Green and Accrington Stanley. We're talking about Leeds United, Leicester City.
On a real personal level.
And thank you friends, for your help. Norwich City. We're coming for you.
Thank you to this man here for his support throughout the year, and to Matt Phillips and to Mr. George Nunn for making us all look absolutely beautiful. The rest of the contributors, I love you. I thank you all individually. But we're done. That is the season. Town, well, they've won promotion. See you next year in the Championship.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down low and I get blue, I can't get enough. Oh, yes, lover. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Oh, yes, lover. crazy from just the thought of you. A long